Researcher hired by tech executive Rodney Joffrey expressed doubt about the Hillary Clinton project to take down Donald Trump. The researcher was tasked to create a false narrative of the Trump-Russian collusion. And then in an August 2016 email cited by special counsel John Durham, the researcher wrote at one point, "This will not fly." And it's not flying for many of us. Now, the message surfaced in a motion filed late Monday this week. Durham claims that Joffrey, who worked on Hillary Clinton's 2016 presidential campaign, and attorney Michael Sussman took part in a joint venture. Their mission was to gather and spread damaging information about then Republican nominee Donald Trump. Let's welcome in now former Trump 2016 foreign policy advisor and Newsmax contributor George Papadopoulos. Drip, 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 George. What do you make of this latest nugget?
Well, thanks a lot for having me, John, and happy Easter and Passover weekend to you and your family. Look, this represents, in my eyes, a very significant escalation of the Durham probe for two reasons. The first reason is because this probe has actually been ongoing now much longer than Bob Mueller's investigation. However, it's been a very secretive probe. The Durham team has really not leaked any information to conservative media or the mainstream media or any media whatsoever, and he's doing all his talking in the courtrooms. By filing these motions, he's actually allowing the American public and the world to have a very intimate vantage point into what I believe is a political insurrection that the Democrats and the Clinton campaign waged against both candidate Trump, his campaign, and later on the Trump presidency. So what John Durham is really going to be doing here, I think leading up to his first trial, which is coming up next month, is set out there to make his case to the American public that he's not off on a wild goose chase. There's substance here, and people will be held accountable.
All right, we're seeing Michael Sussman's picture on the screen there. We also wanted to ask you about the judge denying his motion to dismiss the charges against him. His case is set to begin next month, and it looks like it's going to, because this judge says we're not going to dismiss these charges.
Well, look, what Michael Sussman was trying to do here is pull the wool over the judge's eyes by basically saying, look, I was a private citizen just doing my part to relay a tip to the FBI, and there's no reason that somebody like myself should be indicted for providing some sort of misinformation. The only problem with his defense, and it's something that the special counsel asserted to the federal judge who then dismissed his motion, is that Sussman is a sophisticated lawyer.
Right.
Two, he was just texting the FBI general counsel Baker the day before he went into the meeting, stating that he was going there representing clients. And third, the lie, of course, was material because this lie then resulted in galvanizing or instigating in many ways this investigation into the Trump campaign. So clearly we're going to see a lot of action moving forward next month, and this is going to be an incredible trial to watch.
And I think, George, anything that Hillary Clinton talked about, including the opposition research and that meeting that she was able to get with the FBI, any of that stuff is material to this case. And John Durham doing his thing. Still don't have any more B-roll of him. We need to see him out in public, George, so we can get some more B-roll of John Durham. One more thing we wanted to ask about as well is this guy, Ed Buck, who is a wealthy and prominent Democratic Party activist. He was sentenced to 30 years in prison. He was found guilty on 9 criminal counts. The charges were that he solicited men for sex games, which prosecutors said he gave out drugs and even injected the drugs into his partners, which resulted in some of their deaths. This is salacious stuff here. And, you know, the whole media apparatus went buck wild when Madison Cawthorn talked about some stuff going on in Washington, D.C. But I hear crickets on this story. This is appalling.
This is absolutely appalling. And this was a very high profile and wealthy donor to Democrats and a West Hollywood denizen for years. I mean, his donations go back decades to some of the most prolific Democrats in California and nationwide. And of course, I remember when this story broke in California, not far from where I live, it was almost called a conspiracy theory. It was called some sort of a smear campaign against him simply because he was supporting people like Ted Lieu or Adam Schiff. And later on, you start to realize that dead bodies are piling up, not 1, 2, but 3. And of course, the media had to cover it. They did. He was indicted. He's facing accountability, and 30 years, in my opinion, is not enough for the crimes this man committed.
Amen to that, George. Great to see you, and like to return the Passover and Easter well wishes to you and your family as well, George. Great to see you.
You too, John. Thanks so much.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, where real news for real people.